بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Tonight, inshallah, we are starting with our second lesson as far as the book is concerned, even though it would be our fifth lesson as far as our classes are concerned. It is page 12 of the Medina Arabic course, book 1. So we jumping straight into the thick of things. It's a very simple, straightforward lesson. It works on the same principle as our previous lessons where we did the usage of the word hada, which was a singular, masculine, directive pronoun for something which is nearby, this. And this lesson is simply dealing with the exact same concept, and you'll see so in a moment. So he begins by saying ad-darsu thaniyu, and like I've stated many times before, that for the purpose of learning Arabic, we'll always pronounce the endings of the words. So therefore, we're not going to say ad-darsu thani, which is how you would speak if you were in normal speech, but we will say ad-darsu thaniyu to make certain that you know how this word is supposed to be read. So that if you were reading on, if it was part of a lengthier sentence, you know you are pronouncing your words correctly and joining them to the correct places. So in any case, the second lesson, and I always try and be as verbatim as possible. So ad-darsu thaniyu, the second lesson. So this lesson revolves around this word, Dhaalika. Your Dhal got a Kra Zabar on top of it, Khanjar Alif, if you prefer to refer to it as such, not with a Fatha as Dhalika, but Dhaalika. And the word Dhaalika is written like this, Dhal Lam Kaf. There's no Dhal Alif Lam Kaf, but hence the Kra Zabar, because you have a pull on it as Dhaalika. Dhaalika is a singular masculine directive pronoun for something which is far away. So therefore it means that. So Hada, this, Dhaalika, that. So let us get into it. He shows a picture on the left of a star and he says, Ma dhalika. What is that? Dhalika najmun. That is a star. We did this exact same thing before and we said, Ma hadha, hadha najmun. What is this? This is a star. Now here, the only thing which is changing is the word itself from hadha to dhalika. That's all. The rules, everything that apply to hadha applies to dhalika. There's absolutely no difference between them. So next one, هذا مسجد وذلك بيت. This is a masjid and that is a house. So this is a masjid and that is a house. This near, that far. Again, words we have done before. هذا حصان وذلك حمار. This is a horse and that is a donkey. Next one, أذلك كلب. Adhalika, we're seeing this one picture over here. Adhalika kalbun. Is that a dog? La. Dhalika qittun. No, that is a cat. Last word for the page. Ma dhalika. What is that? Dhalika sarirun. That is a bed. So you can see every last point that we had learned before, which applied to hadha, is applied here to dhalika as well. Absolutely no difference between them. So it is really not a difficult lesson. Moving on, we did also previously ma hadha and man hadha. What is this and who is this? As a result, we are now bringing the man part into it. Man hadha wa man dhalika. Man hadha, who is this? Wa man dhalika, and who is that? Hadha mudarrisun, this is a teacher. Wa dhalika imamun, and that is an imam. If you wanted the literal translation of imam, imam means a leader. So this is a teacher and that is a leader, if you wanted to put it that way. But because we are not speaking about a leader in the sense, just now somebody thinks that it refers to the leader of his political party and stuff like this here. So to keep it more in the context of how we are using it, we will say the imam, like the imam of the salah. The khalifa is also the imam. So yes, your political party leader can be referred to as an imam, but we're not exactly going to be using it for such people. Moving on, he says, Ma dhalika. but difficult to see from this weird picture. What is that? And he says, Dhaalika hajarun. Hajarun means a stone. So, Dhaalika hajarun. That is a stone. So, keep the word in mind, jot him down as hajarun, not hijrun, not hujrun. So, you may find Surah Hijr in the Quran, you'll find Surah Hujurat in the Quran, and so and you've got the Hijri Ismail around the Kaaba, next to the Kaaba, which is part of the Kaaba at least, or things like this here. So don't mix the word Hajarun with any of those other words. Write him as Hajarun so you don't make a mistake when you come across him in future. So Dhalika Hajarun, that is a stone. And we say a stone, not a boulder, not a rock, because these things have their own words which are used for them. So this or that is a stone. Like for example, it comes in the poem Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam basharun wa laysa kal bashari bal huwa yaqutatun wan nasu kal hajari. That Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is a man but not like other men. بشر وليس كالبشر بل هو ياقوتة والناس كالحجر. Rather, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is like a diamond and the rest of people are stones. So, we refer to it as precious stones, but obviously you can never ever compare the price of a diamond with a pebble on the side of the road. But yet at the same time, both of them are deemed to be stones. All right, so let's move on further. He shows the next one. Again, difficult to tell what this is, but he says Hada Sukkarun. And if you hear the word, even the similarities in the languages should tell you Hada Sukkarun, Maysaker, DS Maysaker. Hada Sukkarun, this is sugar, Wadhalika Labanun, and that is milk. So Sukkar, sugar. Labanun means milk. So Hada Sukkarun, this is sugar, Wadhalika Labanun, and that is milk. So hada sukkarun, this picture over here with sugar cubes inside it, could have been anything in a bowl that you were eating over there. But anyway, hada sukkarun, this is sugar, wadhalika labanun, and that is milk. Again, keeping in mind the word is labanun, not labinun or lubnun or anything else, because when you take the word labinun, it has a different meaning altogether. A labinun, when you use labinun, it would be referring to a brick. So labinun means zahabin and labinun means fidda, a brick of gold and a brick of silver. So we're not talking about bricks here, we're talking about milk. So always, I'd say I emphasize the writing down of words, jotting it down, transliteration and stuff like this here, not willy-nilly. I'd give you the advice to do these things for the reason is there are many words which are similar. Now you're going to come across these words as you'll see time and time again in the book. An exercise will come and the word will be thrown at you. And now, if you were doing the lesson like real classes should be in person, no, not doing one page a week, but you're doing every day after day, you're doing classes upon classes. We go through 9-10 pages in the matter of an hour, like this here. Then you have to think fast on your feet. So therefore, you don't have time to get the word wrong. So that's why it's important to write things down in your notebooks so that you know how you are going to be pronouncing it. Anyway, that was the end of the lesson itself. So now he comes to our first exercise and he says tamrinun, exercise. First exercise, as always, is iqra waktub, read and write. Now, obviously, in a classroom, as this book was originally being taught in the Medina Arabic, or at least the Medina University, you would have you as the student, you would read it, obviously, since it's written here without harakat, you would be reading it, and you would write it as well. But obviously, we don't have the ability for people to read it or the ability really for you to write it, because we're trying to move forward as fast as possible and not sit for the next year and a half just on the first book. There are 3 books in this course, and I'd like that we can get through all of them, inshallah. So anyway, I will read the first one and then I leave it up to you to give the answers, or at least to transliterate or translate whatever it is that you prefer for the next 3 sentences. Transliteration would be better more important than translation at this stage is to make certain that you are being able to read. Because as you can see, the harakat have been taken off these words here to test your ability. We just did the word and I said it's labanun, not labinun. So therefore, to test your ability, are you going to read him now as wadhalika libnun or wadhalika lubnun and stuff of the sort, or are you going to say wadhalika labanun? So that's the reason behind it. So if you can transliterate it, all the better. So anyway, number one, هذا سكر وذلك لبن. This is sugar and that is milk. Number two, anyone who wants to take on to transliterate it quickly. Okay, seems like we're running a bit behind. Okay, man dhalika, 100% correct. Dhalika imamun, perfect. Man dhalika, dhalika imamun. Who is that? That is an imam, not the imam. Dhalika imamun, that is an imam. It is a leader. It's an indefinite noun. All right. Next one is number 3. Okay. Adhalika qittun, 100% perfect. La dhalika kalbun, perfect. Both answers are 100%. You may go ahead and give the fourth one so long. You don't have to wait until I go through it before you give the next one. I'll just as I speak, you can continue going on. But no need to slow down. Anybody who's present, you can write everybody at the same time also. It's not an issue. The whole point is just that put yourself in and do the exercises so that you can feel the result at the end of the day. I know how it was. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt too. So if you are going to sit back because you're shy, maybe I may make a mistake, you end up suffering at the end of the day. So there's a good reason behind throwing yourself into the exercises. Okay, so the answers given for number 4 was ma hadha hajarun, perfect. All the answers which were given are all 100% correct. What is this? This is a stone. Now we end of the page by saying al kalimatul jadidatu, the new words. Imamun, an imam. Hajarun, a stone. Sukkarun, sugar. Labanun, milk. And that's the end of page 13. And it is the end of lesson number 2. Lesson number 2 was a very simple, straightforward lesson. Nothing difficult in it at all. It should have actually been done as part of lesson number 1. But obviously we had a bit of shortage of time last week. So we didn't get a chance to do it. But like I said, I don't want that you must feel we're going at such a snail's pace that you'll turn 32 and we'll still be sitting on lesson number 4. So I don't want to delay that much, since after all we're only doing one class a week. So let's try and jam pack as much as we can in the lesson without going overboard and without making it too much for you to digest. So let's move on. He says, Ad-darsu thalithu. Ad-darsu thalithu, the third lesson. Now, this is an important lesson. It contains one of the most important rules of Arabic, which is, as we will look over here, baytun, a house. Al-baytu, the house. Kitabun, a pen. Al-kitabu, the pen. Qalamu, a book, and al-kitabu, the book. Qalamun, a pen. Al-qalamu, the pen. Jamalun, a camel. al-jamalu, the camel. So what this lesson is dealing with is definite and indefinite nouns. How you take a noun and make it from being definite to indefinite and from indefinite to definite, which is by default, and I've stated this before and I'll say it again, that by default, nouns end with a dhammatain as baytun, kitabun, qalamun, jamalun. This is the default. Something has to affect the word in order to change it from that default. So you'll have occasions where something will affect it and give it a kasratain, and so on and so forth. Then you have the words or additions to the word, at least to the noun, which will take away the tanween. Yet the the asl, the original type, or at least the diacritical mark, whatever term people prefer to call it, the original haraka remains despite the tanween disappearing. So baytun, dhammatain, alif and lam and tanween cannot exist on a word at the same time. So you will never, ever have al-qalamun, al-jamalun, al-kitabun, al-baytun. Impossible. It can never happen. Either one or the other. Either there's tanween on it or there's alif and lam on it. They can never coexist. It's like, like uh, men and homosexuals. It just can't work that way. So baytun, al-baytu. A house, the house. So al baytu. So when you are taking a noun from its original form of having dhammatain and you want to make it definite that we are talking about the house, then you take alif and lam. The al, you add it onto the word. So it now becomes al baytun. But because alif and lam and tanween cannot coexist, therefore one dhamma is removed and it becomes al baytu. If something else, another preposition and things like this are now added to the sentence, it will affect it and now give it a kasra and stuff. But for now, the al has only just taken away one dhamma. That's in essence what has happened. So if you understand the lesson, we are dealing with definite and indefinite nouns, and the simplest thing to understand is that a definite noun, a noun which has alif and lam, can never have tanween. So that's the first aspect of the lesson. Now we're moving on to actual sentences. So he starts out and he shows a bit of a weird picture over here, but he says al-qalamu maksurun. Al-qalamu, alif and lam added on, takes the tanween off. So it becomes al-qalamu and then maksurun. Maksurun means broken. Al-qalamu maksurun. The pen is broken. This is supposed to be a crack in the pen, that the pen is broken. So al-qalamu maksurun. The pen is broken. The next one over here, al-babu. We did babun, a door. Now we're doing al-babu. Al-babu, the door. Maftuhun, open. Obviously, as you know, Arabic don't have e's and ah, like I've explained before. In this context, we add the e's, we add the ah from an English perspective. So, al-babu maftuhun, the door is open. Maftuhun means open. Fataha yaftahu, Fatiha, Suratul Fatiha, the opening. So, you can hear it coming from the same root word, but we'll deal with root words again. But al-babu maftuhun, the door is open. Moving on. If at any time I'm moving about too fast, if at any time there's anything which is not clear, ask. Don't let the class run on before and get away from you. Ask. Let the class stop for a moment and things be clarified, and then we can move on again. But don't let it be such that there's something which you don't understand, and then we are just flying on ahead, and you are sitting there behind shy to ask a question. So ask if at any time you feel there's something which needs more clarification. And sometimes my mind does not work to cover everything at the same time, so I may not necessarily explain something as clear as it should be. So if you feel there's something I should have clarified a bit more, maybe you understand it and you feel somebody else may not have understood it so well, that too you can point out so that I can clarify it, inshallah. Anyway, so we're moving on now. Next one, al-waladu jalisun wal-mudarrisu waqifun. Al-waladu, the boy. We did waladun before, a boy. Al-waladu, the boy. Now, here's an important word, jalisun. Jalisun He, one man, is sitting. Keep that in mind, jot it down. You'll end up, we're gonna only, you can see we're doing 1, 2 words. Now we're already doing big sentences made up of 4 words and more. So, you know, it's not exactly child's play. We delving quickly and deeply into the language. So try and keep up. We will go at a slower pace if need be, but don't allow yourself to fall behind. So al-waladu jalisun. Al-waladu, we're talking about a boy. Jalisun is in the masculine singular form. So al-waladu jalisun. For now, don't delve too much in it because obviously we've not done plurals, we've not done duals, we've not done feminine form. So obviously it's a little bit difficult for you to understand all of that. I'm just putting it out there that jalisun is singular masculine for the reason is you don't start using Khadijatu Jalisun, for example, that Khadija or Zainabu Jalisun, you're not going to use it that way because Jalisun is masculine. Anyway, so Jalisun means sitting. Al waladu Jalisun, the boy is sitting. Wal mudarrisu waqifun, and the teacher is standing. Waqifun means standing. Al mudarrisu, the teacher. And wa yeah, wa means and. So wa al mudarrisu. You won't say wa al mudarrisu. You will join it like this. And you know you've read this in the Quran 1,001 times. When you read, you're not gonna say wa al wal mu'minuna, not wa al mu'minun. You will say إن المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات والقانتين والقانتات والصادقين والصادقات not والمؤمنين والمؤمنات you're not going to read it that way, you join. So in a like manner, that's how the waw is used. So والمدرس واقف, the waqifun, that waw is not and, it's part of the word itself. So وَالْمُدَرِّسُ waqifun, if you were to understand it as individual words, but wal mudarrisu waqifun, and the teacher is standing. And here's one point I'd like to point out, which is many people tend to write Arabic. You're doing your exercises and stuff, and you're writing Arabic, and then people write a wow, and then they put a space, and then they will write al mudarrisu. It shouldn't be that way. When you are using the word, as you will see over here, the wow is attached to al mudarrisu. This is how you will write in your writing as well. That when you're using the word and, wa for and, then you will attach it to the word. So wal waladu, wal mudarrisu, wal qalamu, wal babu, whatever it may be, the waw will be standing right here and not there. It'll be attached to the word and not put with a space in between like that. So wal mudarrisu waqifun, and the teacher is standing. Now our time is starting to run short, so let us try and finish how far we can go. Let's see. Yeah, we'll at least finish this one page of here because, and I'll end on this point because there's a lot of vocab that you will have learned. And I cannot stress it enough. Jot down the vocab because we're going to end up into an exercise for next week and you're going to have to know the answers of the bat. So let's move. He says number 1. Al-kitabu jadidun wal-qalamu qadimun. Yeah, we're going to do lots of vocab, like I said, compared to what we had done before. Already we've learned a number of new words. I'll try and run through them in the end, but the audio recording or video recording at least of the book itself will be up on YouTube on the Darul channel. So if you are missing anything, you are able to go there and go through it again. But anyway, Al-Kitabu Jadidun, the book is new. Jadidun means new. Wal Qalamu Qadimun, and the pen is old. Qadimun means old, Jadidun means new. Number 2, we cross the page. We don't go down like this, we cross the page. So number 2, Al-Himaru Saghirun wal-Hisanu Kabirun. The donkey is small. Saghirun means small. Wal-Hisanu, the horse. Kabirun is big. So Saghirun is small, Kabirun is big. Number 3, Al-Kursiyu Maksurun. Remember, I made mention that Kursiyu, there's a shadda on it, and it's not supposed to be Kursiyu. So, Al-Kursiyu Maksurun, the chair is broken. Maksurun, as we had done above. Al-Kursi, Ayatul Kursi. Who is there that don't know Ayatul Kursi? So, you've come across the word Kursi before. Al-Kursiyu Maksurun, the chair is broken. Number 4, al-mindilu wasikhun. The handkerchief is dirty. Al-mindilu we have done before, which means the handkerchief. Wasikhun means dirty. Next one, number 5, al-ma'u baridun. Al-ma'u baridun. Al-ma'u means the water. Baridun means cold. Al-ma'u baridun, the water is cold. Number 6, al-qamaru jamilun. Al-qamaru, the moon, is jamilun, beautiful. The moon is beautiful. Number 7, al-baytu qaribun wal masjidu ba'idun. The house is near and the masjid is far. Qaribun means near. Qariban qariba. ترون العجيبة and والمسجد بعيد and the masjid is far. بعيد means far. So anyway, moving on now to number 8. Al-hajaru thaqilun wal-waraqu, and obviously this particular print of the book is has a bad print over here. If you have your own hard copy and it's a newer version, you will find the word is written properly. But for those who can't see the word is khafifun wal-waraqu khafifun. The al-hajaru thaqilun, the stone is heavy, wal-waraqu khafifun, and the paper is light. So you see what we're doing a lot here is opposites. We did new and old, small and big, broken. Okay, we didn't do fix. We did here dirty. You'll come to clean in a while. We did cold here. You'll come to hot in a while. We did near and we did far. We did heavy and we did light. And now we obviously heavy and light, and they're giving opposites, so it is stone and paper. So al-hajaru thaqilun, the stone is heavy, wal-waraqu khafifun, and the paper or the page is light. كلمتان خفيفتان على اللسان. خفيفتان على اللسان. ثقيلتان في الميزان. Last hadith of Sahih al-Bukhari, famous hadith. Two things, light on the tongue, heavy on the scales. So heavy, ثقيل, light on the tongue, خفيف. خفيفتان is just the dual form. But anyway, so ثقيل, heavy, خفيف, light. Al-hajaru, the stone, al-waraqu, the paper. So the stone is heavy and the paper is light. Number 9, al-labanu harun. Al-labanu harun. Shut down the ra. So al-labanu harun, the milk is hot. And lastly, number 10, al-qamisu nadhifun. The shirt is clean. So nadhifun means clean. And that's the end of page 14. And it is the end of where the lesson itself goes. Now we start with tamarinu, not tamrinun, not tamrinun, but tamarinu. Tamarinu, but I'll explain that next week, inshallah. But that's our next class. For now, we have completed page number 14. The shirt is clean. So let's just run through quickly before time runs out what we had touched on in this. Okay, that was the last lesson. So we did the word Dhaalika, which was used in the exact same form as the word Hadha. The only difference between Hadha and Dhaalika is that Hadha is used for near things, near people and near things, and Dhaalika is used for people and things that are at a far distance away. So this year, that there, that's all. In this whole first page, there was no new vocab. On the second page, Mudarrisun and Imamun, I cannot remember if we have done them before, but if not, then Mudarrisun means a teacher, Imamun means a leader. Hajarun was a new word, which means a stone. Sukkarun, a new word as well, which means sugar. Labanun, which means milk. And that was the only new words we had done in that particular lesson. In our third lesson, as far as the book is concerned, we did our first new word here, which was maksurun, which means broken. We then did the word maftuhun, which means open. Obviously, you remember the whole crux of the letter revolves around this al over here, the alif and lam, to make a noun definite. So al-qalamu, al-babu, al-kitabu, al-so and so and so and so onwards. So maftuhun, which meant open. Maksurun was broken. Maftuhun is open. Then jalisun, which means sitting. Waqifun, which means standing. And then lastly, the vocab over here, jadidun meaning new, qadimun meaning old, saghirun meaning small, Kabirun meaning big. I'm skipping certain words because we have done them before, so I'm not repeating them again. Al-kursiyu, the chair, maksurun, broken. Al-mindilu, the handkerchief, wasikhun, dirty. Al-ma'u, the water, baridun, cold. Al-qamaru, the moon, jamilun, beautiful. Al-baytu, okay, the house, qaribun, near, ba'idun, far. Thaqilun, heavy. Al-waraqu, the paper, khafifun, light. Al-labanu, the milk, harun, hot. Al-qamisu, the shirt, nadifun, clean. And that's basically it. That's the end of our lesson for tonight, inshallah. The end of page 14. Not yet quite the end of page or of lesson number 3 as far as the book is concerned. As you can see, we've still got another, what, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages that will continue on before we will officially end lesson number 3. So you can imagine all of this will be done in the course of one single day in a classroom. So we are not moving as fast as the book itself would like a person to move. But like I say, that's something that you are in a classroom, you are here for no other purpose but this. You are moving at a fast pace because you've got a deadline to meet and stuff like this here. You're not having till next week to give the answers. You've got the next few seconds only to give the answers. So anyway, that's how it's done in a classroom situation, but we're not in that situation, so therefore we are taking things a little bit more laid back. But anyway, that's the end of page 14. It's the end of our lesson. It's where we will stop for tonight, inshallah. You're more than welcome to send me any questions on WhatsApp if you didn't understand anything in the class. Time will run out shortly, so we don't have too much time left over. But if you did happen to have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask it as always. But once again, I'll end on this point by saying, do write down the vocab, because when you have your vocab all written in your book, it makes it a lot easier for you to be able to memorize it from a single book on a page where it's straight in front of you, where you're not having to sift words out. Okay, I know al-kitabu, I know al-qalamu. You just seeing as you go down your vocab page like this here, each word is a new word which we have not done before. So you write them all down and you swat them off by memory. But anyway, that's where we are stopping for tonight, inshallah. And since nobody has sent any questions, I take it that means that everybody has understood it and that we are up to date with the class. I mean, we have not exactly done anything overly difficult. It's quite simple and straightforward. Both lessons, the one that we did with regards to the usage of the word Dhaalika, as well as the application of the alif and lam. And I said it's an important lesson, and you can just look at this. Everything here, every word we're coming across now is using al all over the place. And do yourself a favor. You've got a week before we do our next class. Read the Quran. Focus a bit more when you are reading, and look at the amount of times you're going to see al on words in the Quran. Then you will see just how important this lesson, which you have done, maybe not even thinking how important it is in reality. Yet look at how often this word appears, this law applies and appears in the Quran, and then you see this, you have learned one, or at least gained one more puzzle piece that makes up your whole Arabic language. And inshallah, one of these days, your puzzle will be complete. But that being that, we are stopping on this page here at the end of page number 14. We will continue next week, inshallah, from page number 15. With that being said, we end now. Until next time, وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد. سبحان الله وبحمده. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك. نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت. نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.